What about a guy like Tony Stewart? He comes from sprints and midgets. He did well in the IRL race, and now he's down here trying to do Busch. He was 11th fast at one point this week, and he thinks he's going to do well. What about newcomers like that? Do you see anybody on the horizon that you think's a newcomer?
Sure, that's how NASCAR got started. That's what Indianapolis was all about. Every year you found a new Tony Stewart. I remember when the day A.J. Foyt came there in 1958, same day, year that I started. Cocky and with, talent running out both ears, and then went on to become arguably the best driver this country ever had, and that's what it was good about. That's what NASCAR was good about. Tony Stewart ain't no different in 1995 than A.J. Foyt was in 1958. The only difference was that in the big argument between the IRL and the kart, Tony Stewart got a chance. That's what happened. If that argument hadn't started between those two companies, two organizations, Tony Stewart would still be driving a goddamn midget and a sprinter, and maybe he'd have got a ride in the Busch car. But it'd all be the hard way. Now, I think Tony Stewart has got a lot of talent, and he probably has a hell of a future. But I'm going to tell you something. There's still 99 more Tony Stewarts out there if you just give them a goddamn chance right now. And that's the way racing used to be. If you had the talent and the perseverance, you could get a shot at it. You can't now. And
let's see. A little bit of advice from my superhero in my life, Mr. Smokey Yunick. We'll play one more. He's so good. I absolutely adore what he did for our sport.
And yeah, I guess you'd have to.
Andy belongs in the Auto Racing Hall of Fame in NASCAR.
Jr.,
NASCAR Auto Racing Hall of Fame.
Fourth grade for 3 more years to get an idiot's license. But what's happened here now is that he's controlling a billion-dollar business very successfully. So apparently, since I last had anything to do with Bill France Jr., he got educated.
Get NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV to watch up to 4 games live at once.
Well, that stinks.
You people.
He got educated.
Drive a race car, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But there was a time, and quite a lengthy time, we absolutely couldn't beat that son of a bitch. No matter what we tried, he was just, and it didn't make any difference whether a midget or a sprint car, an Indy car, a sports car, a stock car, whatever it was. He just went like a bat out of hell. And he really, when cars start to handle, and he was not able to drive them anymore. He had driven junk in the handling department for so many years and learned how to master that when he got a good handling car, he didn't know what the hell to do with it. And when he was really good, like say at Indy, he'd kill himself 3 times a lap and never put a scratch on the car. It was amazing what the guy could do.
Quite a man right there, okay? And if anyone has superheroes in their life, this guy was mine, Smokey Yunick. How are we this, what are we, Wednesday morning already? Let me get my camera up here, and we'll get to go to, let's see, I got the Busch race up, because I wasn't paying attention. I want to do 1996 Bristol. And let me say hello to you. Good morning, everybody. I wasn't planning on streaming, but I know iRacing is down, so I had this lined up to do yesterday. I just ran short on time. And let's go racing at Bristol, Cup 1996. I was here watching for fun. The satellite feed. There is no sound.
Yeah, 4th one, I guess.
But listen to this.
If they're going to try to win the chip, we don't have to. They can obviously go on and win the rest of the races in the season. But tonight is really critical to get through this race.
Terry Labonte, of course.
Why is it broadcasting in mono?
Jeff Gordon has also had a good record here. In fact, all the top 4 have, except possibly Dale Jarrett, who has never won on a short track, but certainly has the best average finishing position in the last 6 races. Let's go back to Bill.
Okay, Bob, let's take a look at the rest of the starting field. We got you through the top 15. Morgan Shepherd will start 16th here tonight. Then it's Hut Strickland, our Sunday driver, Jeff Burton, Brett Bodine, and Old DW, who's won here 12 times, rolls off 20th. Ward Burton and Bobby Labonte are in row 11. Then Ern
today
23rd tonight, next to Dave Marcus, who had a good qualifying run. Dick Trickle was the last man to make the field in the first round of
Lake Speed is the car that we are working with.
Johnny Benson and Rick.
And I was in their pit, the Spam pit down in the infield.
In the Coors Light car, subbing again for Kyle Petty.
I wasn't working, I was just there as a fan.
On speed, then provisionals went to Bobby Hamilton.
My husband was working. He was front tire carrier for the 9.
Chevrolet, and Bill Elliott used a past champions provisional, but then this afternoon, Elliott decided he would not be able to drive here, and Bobby Hillen will be in the McDonald's Ford tonight. The crowd cheering for Dale Earnhardt. They admire the man, and they admire the effort he's put forth in the last few weeks. 26.5 minutes before the green flag flies here at Bristol. How important is qualifying? 71 NASCAR Winston Cup races at Bristol. 62 of the 71 winners have started inside the top 10. Stand by.
Never had it play in just one ear. That's odd.
Are they going around to the back? I'm with Brad.
This is the raw feed, so it's a longer one. It's almost 4 hours. I'll fast forward through some of the green spells.
Yes. Okay. Brett Bodine and Jeff Burton waving to the 90,000 fans that are packed into Bristol Motor Speedway tonight for the Goodies Headache Powder 500. Just about 25 minutes away. The clock is ticking and the hearts are pounding. The drivers are busy on the track during this race, and the crew chiefs are busy on pit road. What are they doing? They're pacing and praying. For more on that, John Kernan with Larry McReynolds.
Well, Larry McReynolds, crew chief for Ernie Irvin and that Robert Yates Racing team, along with Dale Jarrett, squad led by Todd Parrott, the hottest team in NASCAR right now, Larry. But some anxious moments here because you really can't.
You had a hair in my eye.
Bristol, can you?
No, you really can't.
Pull it out.
The racetrack got rained on really hard, and it washed a lot of the rubber away. And both teams, we've made some adjustments based on that. Now, I'm sure it won't be long in the race before it gets right back to where it was. But, you know, track position's everything, and you got so many cars that's so close. Just look at qualifying. But hopefully we can keep that Robert Yates Racing momentum going here tonight and carry it on to Darlington, get that $1 million next week.
Talk about the competition being close in qualifying. Ernie is 8th, Dale 9th, separated by 0.03 of a second. How do you guys build cars exactly alike like that?
We really worked hard this year on that, and you've seen that a lot. Now, there's been a few times we've been close together at the back of the field, but, you know, we're trying to get them qualified up near the front, and that's real important here tonight at Bristol because it takes forever to pass. It's a one-groove racetrack, and you just can't pass. That's what I just stressed to the pit crew in a team meeting. Any positions we lose here on pit road, it could take 10, 15 laps to make it up on the racetrack.
That's Larry McReynolds. They are waiting for Ernie and Dale to come back around in their pickup trucks, get out of there and get in the cars and go to work. Let's go to Dr. Jerry Punch.
All right, John, let's show you a shot of Team Hendrick. That's Jeff Gordon and Terry Labonte. They start second and third. That's 2/3 of Hendrick Motorsports. Of course, Kenny Schrader driving the Budweiser Chevy. He is the third driver, all three of which could be contenders tonight. I'm with Ray Evernham. And Ray, last time we were here, it was damp, it was rainy, it was overcast, and your car went to victory lane. Hey, could be an omen.
Yeah, that was in the spring. You know, we've done well in the spring race here, but have a little trouble getting a handle on the racetrack at night. So, you know, we kind of got fooled. It was real hot, and then it got cold in the last practice, so I think everybody was scrambling a little bit. So the first 100 laps ought to be exciting.
What about the rain shower? Some of the people were guessing in the early practice today at 1 o'clock, and then the rains came for about 2 hours. How will the track be different?
Jerry, you know, it's been loose since we've been here, and then it got tight in that last practice, and now the rains washed the rubber away. So it's going to be a completely different track until the rubber gets on it. And then once probably 100 laps are through, you're going to be, you know, if you guess loose, you could be really loose or really tight. It's going to be tough. I think everybody's got a lot of spring rubbers in and making some pressure adjustments. Goodyear brought a new tire, so everybody's starting from square one.
You once told me that when your team goes a couple weeks without winning, you start to panic and think, man, maybe we're not going to win again. You know, it's been almost a month since Talladega, although you've won.
I didn't switch my stream info.
After you don't win for a week, you think you know.
95 was yesterday. This is 96.
If not a good finish, you know, you need to be, if you've got a whole car here on a lead lap with 100 laps to go, you've got a pretty good chance. So that's what we've got to do.
Hey, the man who commands the Rainbow Warriors, Ray Evernham, his driver starts on the outside of row one, and the guy who starts third is his colleague at Hendrick Motorsports, John Kernan.
And that is Gary Dehart, the crew chief for Terry Labonte. This race last year, Gary, you guys came within, what, a few hundred feet of leaving here with a perfectly good car with no scratches on it. You won the race, but there's that little incident there at the end. How about tonight? What about this car?
Well, this is a good car. This is a new car. We hadn't raced it but one time this year. That car we had here last year was a good car, but Dale Earnhardt was the last one to work on it, so he didn't do a good job at fixing it. So we brought a new one back up here.
Now the points, you guys are leading the points right now. Races are winding down to the end of the season. Starting to feel any pressure?
Yeah.
I'm with Lake. We're midfield.
You know, it's a lot to think about. It's a big thing for us. You know, we really do want to win it.
Hey, what about, well, you guys start third tonight. Gary Dehart, crew chief for Terry Labonte. Let's go to Bill Weber now.
Okay, John, standing by, drivers getting back to pit road, getting ready to climb in their cars for tonight's race. And don't forget, if you want to get
my keyboard on my bed desk.
NASCAR online, www.nascar.com. You can find out things like short track points in 1996. Jeff Gordon has 710. Terry Labonte is second with 598. Rusty Wallace is third, and Dale Earnhardt is fourth in short track points.
I think only the top 20 get on the front stretch. I think we're going to be pitted on the back stretch.
Here, we finished the race at 12:25.
Our pit sign was a big yellow 9, number 9, like that, like 9. And this is the raw satellite feed, so it's going to show you all kinds of fun stuff. If you didn't know, Bristol used to... I knew people that had tickets to Bristol, and they had first option every year before. Hi, good morning. Thank you for the alert, Pops. I heard iRacing was down, so...
Jeff Fuller, a new...
Since I had this planned for yesterday, I decided to do it today. Because after like 4 hours... you have a back issue too, and I'm like, if I don't move around, that's why I get up and down a lot. If you ever see just a checkered flag on, it means I'm either walking a dog outside or feeding a cat or talking to a kid or taking a bio break. I was at this track. I was not working as a scorer for the team, but I was at the track just supporting them.
Okay. I'm going.
They had a space on the roster.
What are we doing?
And we're pitted on the back stretch. Is that the back stretch? No, that looks like the front stretch.
Minutes before the green flag falls here at Bristol Motor Speedway for the Goodies Headache Powder 500. John Kernan.
Well, Dale Jarrett talking to Screw, in fact, signing a hat for a fan. And Dale, I guess, one of the hottest drivers right now. I mean, you got some momentum going.
My dad was working with Bush.
Second, what about tonight?
So he'll race, and I have a race up for that, too.
A little better. We've got a pretty good car. 500 laps around here is difficult. You just have to stay out of trouble, keep the fenders on it, but I think that we've got a good shot.
What about all the rain we've had and, you know, washing off the rubber off the track? How will that change things in the first 50 to 100 laps, or does it?
Yeah, it definitely does. The track will probably be a little bit looser to start with, tend to slide around a little bit more after we get some rubber on here. So probably be a little freed up to begin with, but should come in later on.
All right, that's Dale Jarrett, starts 9th in tonight's race. Let's go now to Bill Weber.
Okay, and right here around the Western Auto Parts America Chevrolet Durham.
Yeah, I got 3 races. They got the goodies. This is the spring race at Bristol, the fall race at Bristol, and the fall Busch race that my dad won.
Think about that when I come here, and just finishing 7 races in a row here is...
That's my lineup for today.
It was just one of those times in my career when everything was right. I had to...
On the VOD, catch the little intro with Smokey Yunick saying a few things. He's pretty wise. He's like my superhero. He's up there with the Richard Petty's and
for tonight, DW?
Dale Earnhardt's. To me, he's even more.
And, you know, we get up when we come here. We know we can do it here. They know I can do it here. A little bit of patience and a little bit of luck. And I told him, I said, this...
And Smokey Yunick belongs in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. He's in 40-something other Hall of Fames, and because of his feud with Bill France,
tonight to Jerry Punt,
he's never been put into the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and it's about time he is.
The Goodrich Chevrolet, Bobby.
I have bumper stickers on my car that say Smokey belongs.
Working all weekend to try to make Dale more comfortable in the car. They have worked with the seat, the steering wheel.
Big on that.
Champ, have you been able to get comfortable, and how far can you go?
Well, I hope I can go all the way. Got a few more braces in here. You know, the neck muscles, I think, is the biggest thing that bothers me, and they're hooked to where the collarbone's broke. And it gave me a lot of aggravation yesterday practicing and all, and a little bit today, but not as much today as it yesterday, so I feel better today.
Some of the guys said, well, I think Dale will get out early, but for them early, maybe lap 20. For you, early could be what, Monday or Tuesday?
I got to test Richmond Monday and Tuesday.
Okay, the 7-time Winston Cup champion, folks. He has been a herding puppy all weekend. They will have Mike Wallace standing by, but Mike might just do that, Bill Weber. He might just stand by.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me at all, Jerry. Couple of things to keep in mind. Jeff Fuller won the pole for the Busch race last night, and then he won the race. His wife gave birth to their 3rd child Thursday night, so congratulations to Jeff and his wife on a great weekend. Lots more coming up here from Bristol.
That's the car my dad was crew chief for the end of 96, the second half of 96.
And get ready for the Goodies 500.
Jeff Fuller was coming off winning Rookie of the Year in 95. He was a modified driver from New England. I met Jeff Fuller in our kitchen when he was 14, I was 12. We've been friends like through our whole life, especially teenage years. We sat together at the track, we hung out. We just really had a good relationship that way, and talking racing and all. He's someone I need to contact. Get his opinion on my dad's book and stuff, because he worked with my dad through the beginning to all our life. I don't think Dad has talked to him lately. I asked Dad, and he said he hadn't heard from him lately. So I got a number. I'll call him as soon as I activate my new phone.
That's right.
Get in touch. I was supposed to call him about 20 years ago. I'm always in my own little world, doing my own little thing, and I'm just really not a good phone call maker for anything in life.
Welcome back to Bristol, just under 14.
Because it was my job. I was a secretary. It's like, I don't work anymore.
He's the Winston Cup points leader. He's already sitting in his Kellogg's Cornflakes Chevrolet. RPM tonight, tomorrow with Kenny Mayne. You got the morning edition and you got the evening edition on ESPN2. Make it part of every Sunday. And then
my face feels puffy. I got to get that tooth looked at. I got a tooth to be looked at.
On ESPN2.
There's another phone call.
On Tuesdays when he's not doing football, which is something else he's got coming up. So there's plenty coming up. RPM tonight, make it a part of your menu 6 days a week. Let's go back to Watkins Glen. Dave Despain is there for the Parts America 150 tomorrow. It's the Craftsman Super Truck race.
See on the back stretch, I'm looking to see if I'm around. I didn't pay attention. Oh, Modifieds race there too.
This is a NASCAR Modified, fresh off
Damn right.
the tour. These guys and their open wheelers have how much road racing experience?
That 00 was owned by a guy named Art Barry. I'm sorry, why did I say Brady? I was thinking of another thing. Art Barry and Jeff Barry, B-A-R-R-Y, drives a little bit, or did drive.
Then we hop to ESPN2 at 3 o'clock.
He had many famous people in his race car.
With the NASCAR Featherlight Modified Tour. It's going to be a great afternoon. I hope you'll be here for all of it. Parsons, get your tail up here and get...
For those that don't know, we raced the tour before it was called the tour. And like now the Featherlight Modifieds have become the Wheeling Modifieds.
And one guy's going to be working hard.
And
he's with Rusty Wallace.
They race once a week, basically.
That's right, and Rusty is strapped.
We used to race 4 nights a week at all these tracks. We would basically live in our camper. My dad had a truck with a little truck camper, slide-on camper. We basically lived in there from track to track, go home for school, and just
real good, so
all the way from as far south as Martinsville up to
Rusty Wallace starts. Let's go to Bill Weber.
Oxford, Maine.
Talking to his crew, he just put
Thunder Road, Vermont, maybe was the furthest.
Sliding across the finish line.
I know Dad raced in Canada a little, but I've never been to Canada.
To talk to Terry, but I'll tell you what, if he's in Victory Lane tonight, we'll certainly get a chance to talk.
I think he drag raced in the 60s in Canada.
1 year ago. How about tonight? How's your car?
Well, it was pretty decent.
One time, I think.
Hopefully we'll have a good run tonight.
Okay,
that's a story for another day.
Those two guys, Earnhardt and Gordon, tied for second, 134 points behind him. 8 active drivers with wins here at this track. Darrell Waltrip has 12. Earnhardt has 8. Rusty Wallace with 5. Jeff Gordon has a pair. So does Terry Labonte, Bill Elliott, Ernie Irvin, Mark Martin, all in this field with the exception of Elliott, who will not start tonight. He gives up to Bobby Hillen. And Hillen attempted to qualify for this race, missed it by 1/1000th of a second.
Hillen has a tough time qualifying. Even when my dad worked with him, he didn't qualify like 3 races.
Coming up next.
He was kind of an anomaly. He was at the end of his career, too, so...
Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon.
I don't know.
Front row.
The communication... If you don't have communication of what the car is doing, it's very difficult for your crew. And for some reason, my dad just could not communicate well with him, I don't think. He didn't do well with him. And my dad did well with most anyone else, so I don't know. Just was a connection, communication.
Somehow managed to put this car.
Because everybody that's at that level is good, whether they're in a crew or driving. They're the best in the world, you know what I'm saying? So they don't just forget how to drive or forget how to set up a car. It's a combination.
The Bristol Motor Speedway, well, it's hard to run 500 laps here.
If you don't have that symbiotic relationship, is a big word, but I love symbiotic relationships in life, because I was a beekeeper. I learned about that. I know that's a tangent, but
Bristol Motor Speedway.
Everything has an effect on everything else.
And with the clavicle right here, the collarbone, here's what happens. It goes in the corner, his body and head goes to the right, and that belt pulls down right on the fracture site, trying to pull those bones apart. Not only that, the muscle that holds his head up and part of the neck attaches right on top of the clavicle, folks. That's going to be painful. The word is they're going to have Mike Wallace standing by. This camp says Earnhardt could get out early. The team says early could be, well, lap 25 or 30, but Earnhardt says early could be Sunday morning. Now, 2 other drivers will miss the Battle of Bristol tonight. Bill Elliott in the car number 94 will have Bobby Hillen subbing for him, and Kyle Petty will have Jim Sauter in his car. Both those drivers.
That was nice a deal.
At Darlington next week. For more, let's go to Bill Weber.
He gave that one look you give to the person that is special to you, and in spite of everything in his head right now. I learned as a child of a racer, especially I know this sounds wicked, but my parents said don't talk on the way to the racetrack because Dad's thinking. And we always had the ever-present fear that if we talked, he could forget something on a race car and they crash. I mean, that was how I was brought up. up. I mean, it was
In the spring race, he's
a great life in racing, but you have pressure.
the man that Gordon is.
Like, even as a child in racing, to always perform as an adult.
His first career.
You're a child in an adult world.
Tomorrow. It was 1984.
The cameras are always on.
He also won the championship that year. But if you believe in numbers, how about Rusty Wallace? He qualified 5th. He's won here 5 times.
You don't want to be the one getting hurt in the pits.
Number 5?
You know,
oh, yeah.
There was just so many things. Don't wear the wrong logo.
Bill, I got 3 sleepers for you. You got the 21, the 41, and the 81. Kenny,
now, Dad helped him in 97 almost the full season after Gil Martin left.
And how about Ricky Craig?
He wasn't listed as a crew chief, but he worked with them.
That they hope will make that car a rocket ship.
Phil Martacci was very fond of Dad. Okay, that's the front stretch. I know I'm standing like that on the back stretch. I remember doing that.
CD is gold in the U.S. It's platinum in Canada. She's currently up for 7 Canadian CMA awards, including Entertainer of the Year. Join me now in welcoming Mercury recording artist, Miss Terry Clark.
Terry Clark.
Oh, say, can you see?
I'd write it down, too, because the nerves will make you forget the words, no matter how many times you sing it.
What so proudly we hailed.
I've only sang it in choir.
Twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the...
We worked for them in 97. I know the guy and then the mustache. He's familiar. It's like all our classmates. We were the class of 96 and 7. If that makes sense. It's your alma mater. Those are our classmates. We were all graduating with them, basically. She's good at working that mic. You learn as a singer or even a karaoke person that the mic has hot spots and cold spots, and you learn how to work the mic and keep the volume correct, if that makes sense. Because you kind of listen to what you're singing at the same time. It's weird to explain. I used to travel with a karaoke crew. I used to be in a choir for 3 years. I sang at an event in a choir, with the choir, that the cathedral's tenor was singing at. Doggy walk time. BRB.
What's the matter, Lynn? You act perplexed. Oh. It got thrown out and they emptied our waste paper basket. The www.nascar.com, but I can do that. Don't worry about it, Lynn. Don't worry about it, Lynn. Don't worry about it. And that requires a billboard, I'll bet, doesn't it? Here, keep these. Lynn.
What did Spencer do on the stop? 2 tires, gas, or what?
We're going to need a light in here before too long. I can't see nothing. Thank you.
Did Spencer just change 2 tires, gas, or what?
He must have maybe only changed 2 tires.
This would be a great place to mention that the rule will change next year for the champion. I wanted to do that, but we got the break. I'm sorry? Track Packs are brought to you by Quaker State, the motor oil that exceeds the highest standards for engine protection. Here's Jerry Punch.
In this era of satellite communication with cellular phones and fax machines, we all realize how easy communication has gotten. Well, that is easy everywhere except Bristol Motor Speedway. Now, here the noise is such a huge factor, it's hard to even talk to someone standing beside you. That's why we all wear these noise-canceling headsets, even among the crews. But sometimes when they're under green flag conditions, you can't even hear with these things on. So you need a little bit of legal assistance. Actually, what you need is a good old-fashioned legal pad. Take a look at what the crew members do. They have what they call a legal assistant right on the legal pad. Add 2 rounds of ice, increase air pressure 1 pound on the right front, gas, and go. In case a driver doesn't hear you, well, you hold it up in the window. You say, I said go. Folks, you got to be simple when it's this noisy in Bristol, Tennessee. Even sometimes the headsets don't work. Bob?
Back to the basics as far as communication is concerned, and you can imagine what the noise is like here, but the fans love it. This should be a great baseball game tomorrow night on ESPN. The 2 top teams in the National League Central, the Cardinals led by Ron Gant, in the Astrodome taking on Jeff Bagwell in the division-leading Houston Astros. 8 o'clock tomorrow night on ESPN. It's the Sunday night baseball game of the week.
This here is a raw satellite feed of this race. Even though these were the Cup cars, they're kind of like the Gen 4s on the sim. The Cup cars are nothing close to what they were back then to now. ARCA is close. Nowadays, ARCA cars look like these. How are you doing with your Rocket League? I see you're broadcasting Rocket League a lot. If anyone is into, like, watching, like, top gamers, you gotta see Dark. Let me see if I can do this.
Is that thing working? Yeah. Okay, good. Not away, BP.
I'm such a bad speller. Or typer. Mainly because of my eyes.
Follow up on that mask.
Yeah, they were talking about taking a rubber out, but they did not. I just asked David Smith. He said no. That they asked Dale if he wanted it out. He told him no. I asked him what the problem was on the right front. He said we didn't have a problem on the right front. So okay. I didn't see it from where I was, but I was in the pit. I wasn't up. Last time I was standing on the toolbox. This time I couldn't get up there.
I just saw him over there with a pair of pliers.
Well, they were going to pull it out, Benny, but I guess Earnhardt changed his mind.
At the last minute, okay.
I just wanted to clear that up.
Okay. We're glad you did, John.
Mike, you keeping you up?
What was that? What?
Mike Hagan, engine builder.
To have it near 0 in here.
I don't know about jacket on. I burned it up. Yeah. No, that's fat man. Stay hot. I was thinking about him the other farm and tell him to get ready to butcher maybe turn winter time.
Bristol Motor Speedway in the northeast mountains of Tennessee, and the Goodies Headache Powder 500. We're under caution, our third of the evening. Here's the Napa Field summary showing you that not a great deal of positions. Okay.
We could use this telestrator for Earnhardt's nose if we had that. If we had a tape of, if we were taping that pit stop.
I don't think he's paying attention to you, BP.
Yes, no. We could telestrate that Earnhardt's nose if that pit stop was in tape somewhere. You know, we could use a telestrator and point out that the two spots that's causing the air, the water temperature to rise in the car. Uh-oh. 25 car got a little damage.
How did that happen?
I guess he was in that wreck down there.
Was he? Okay. Lead to the highlights last week.
Where'd this guy go, Lynn? Where'd this guy go?
These numbers are changing, so apparently that's being done from somewhere else.
It's not knocked over a whole lot, but I mean, it's just a little off
Skew. That's fun when your rear end ain't pointing in the right direction.
Still sitting up on the toolbox, got the headset on. Earnhardt's sitting in there and just wiping his face right now.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Okay, project another. Did you do that? 9 for 7 minutes and 13 seconds. I'm going to ask you several questions. How do you feel?
Well, sir, I feel like a slice of butter melting on top of a big old pile of flapjack. I'm just a number two. I'm not no good for nobody but you. I'm just a number two. And I'm no good for nobody but you. My temperature rise, and then I go for a ride. And then I feel come on in with you. Have enough road to get up to 88. Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Today is the 18th. This is RJ's website. If any of you want to follow him, if you just type in RJ Williams, it'll come up with this round logo. And he's got 553 subscribers. He's just started putting some videos up. He just went live a few months ago for the second time. 13 hours ago, he raced this. It was the Carolina Craft Cannabis sponsored Pro Cup. It's like the Cars Tour Series, sort of. Late model stock car. And these are he does watch parties too.
Right.
And he does little quips about things that he likes, some of his racing stuff. Let me see, his live streams tonight or tomorrow. Okay, it is tomorrow. Tomorrow qualifying heats on the 19th at 8:45. Okay, and all those others he already ran. That's tomorrow night. I'll be there at night. And I'll shut that down. There's my sound alert.
Now would be a good time to illustrate that line which Bob was talking about with Jeff Gordon, the champion.
Yep. I'll wait till next rig to go, but I will be going soon. Clear the way back there. Stand back.
I don't know how they are now. They used to have like a center link to the pumpkin kind of. And then the side trailing arms, you can move them forward or back to make sure that the rear end is straight and square to your front tires.
Change on the champion not getting the pit.
So I rarely look at the body
all the controversy.
if I'm watching a race.
The Kevin Clark.
And like looking at handling, I look at the 4 tires, like as if they were bare without a body, to make sure.
Are you going to go to?
You know, everything is geometrically going in the right direction.
Hey, that's racing.
Because all that touches the track is these 4 tires. You can mess with downforce and this, that, and the other, which is basically playing with weight. But if you play with weight without the downforce, imagine how good you'd be with the downforce. Something to think about.
How are you? You want to sit?
Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, Bill Weber, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch back at Bristol Motor Speedway. We're under caution. Here's why.
Dale Jarrett has moved over. Ricky Rudd's on the outside. That was a battle for position. He gets in the back of the 95, Gary Bradbury. That's shown his forward, and Bradbury loses control, and that brought out the caution flag.
Now, Dale Jarrett was struggling. He thought maybe he had a tire going down, but the report is that all 4 tires that came off Dale Jarrett's car were okay.
Yeah.
Getting set for a restart in a couple of more laps. 300.
Right.
The 500 here at Bristol.
And those.
Back with more in just a moment.
Those things that diagnosed by your tire temperatures all being even across. Like they, the goal is to make them even all 4, but they give you 3 numbers for a reason, and that tells you whether your caster and camber is out or. More commonly in real life, it's your A-frames are not the right size. Your lower control arm versus your upper control arm, which is the same word for A-frame, have to be aligned so that your spindle is straight, your ball joint's straight. Then after that, you can work with caster and camber, like to tip your tires. 50 spring in or a 300, anything less than a 350 or whatever, they're taller in real life. They're like, honestly, those big yellow ones you see, they're like this big. And they were the rear springs we put in the rear back in the day. And the front springs were always a pair of thousands in a 2,500-pound car we ran to start. You might split that, but that's all to do with entering the turn. Front springs are your entry into the turn. Rear springs are your getting off the turn. Your shocks are throwing the weight where you want it when. So anything about bars, track bars, this, that, and the other, those are Band-Aids to just for weather or driving style or, you know, and then the pounds in your tires actually can change your spring rate too. There was some good track facts that I saw Ray Evernham do on one of the races I was watching that showed how much 1 pound of air changed the spring rate of that tire. So my dad said, we talked about that this weekend actually, and he was saying that because of his experience in IMSA, he had got experience with the radials before NASCAR got the radials. So in that transition time, he had a little advantage, having worked with radial towers. We were working with the team, so I cheer for them on the days we worked with them, right?
I think that was an excellent strategy. You only loses 2.
But yeah, they
RPM.
I'm convinced that, you know,
he was nice.
iRacing eventually would probably understand my dad's way of thinking. If that, you know, it just depends on how they interpret the data. What their weight manipulation is in the vehicle, and I really just don't know computers. I'm more, if you need stiffer leaf springs, you take out an anvil and you flatten the leaves. Put your pressure on your wingtip, you know.
Put it in previews.
You know what leaf springs look like. They got a knuckle here, and they're 4 or 5 strips. Well, we used to hammer them flat on an anvil to put pressure on that front knuckle, so it would make it stiffer in the rear. And then my dad also had 3 adjustments, so you could pull it forward or back.
Carburetors.
I love street stocks and late models and stuff. They're so much more fun.
Back in?
Yes. Who can he beat?
Now, our late model had coil all around. Not coil overs, but coil all around.
Way to go, doesn't he? Man, can't.
Somebody that all out. Yeah, I mean, 150.
Oh, and also it would be Gen 4. That was what I was going to say. I'm trying to be nice. The Gen 8 or 7 or 6 or whatever whatever the hell they got now.
Morning breakfast at Belgium, the Grand Prix race.
Real cars have trailing arms. That's all I got to say. But anyway.
Then tune over to the classic net.
Real race cars have trailing arms. But I would set up a Xfinity car or something with it. Now, because that's what he wanted was Xfinity. I think it would react
Tonight at 8 o'clock tomorrow night.
well.
If you don't,
I mean, if I plugged in every number exactly the same.
And yes.
I mean, I got...
And I'll tell you what, I am very excited about
I think I can make it work, but I want to see.
Robin Pemberton, you guys pitted on lap 3.
I think
that means 170 if it stays green.
pound-wise, it might be off, but percentage-wise, we've got to get that percentage even, the balance, compared to the in real life setup. We'll see.
From now, you know, so if
They used to bind the shocks too, and they still do. There's a lot of people that got solid shocks, you know.
Well, you might be close, but you had no.
It's not supposed to.
There's no choice right now.
My dad's a shock builder, and
Robin said they're going to be close.
pretty famous team in the last, 2 years ago brought him some shock bodies to redo. They had a solid rod in the middle of them. I'm not going to say who. I can't. But he handed them back those shock bodies, said, no, I can't do nothing with them. My dad works with valves and fluid and compression and rebound. And you got a solid rod in the middle. Somebody's dicking around with shit, trying to make it like a coil bond. But yeah, that stuff goes on.
Here we go.
But my dad he has a shock dyno. He'll build shocks. Somebody sends him a set of shock bodies. He'll build you a shock for a track. And they'll work. They will work, I'll guarantee, because he had actually trained Ryan Priest on his modifieds about the shock dyno when Ryan was 18 years old. And Ryan's grandfather was still alive. They were actually housing the car for speed weeks at my dad's workshop.